Okie dokie. Just hit record on the computer, checking on the tablet to make sure everything is launching. It looks like it is. Well, welcome back everyone to the Revelations paint stream. Tonight we're going to be working on finishing up, hopefully, the two Tiras WarMechs that are coming out hopefully this Friday as of the recording. So actually, let's show off this one first. So I did a little bit more progress on this one compared to last time. Hey Prophet, how are you? Doing good. Just showing off some of the work from the last stream. I ended up touching up basically everything. This one is essentially ready to go. What is left to do is dry brush the rocks, add the weathering to the legs, and this one's done. On the second T-Ross here, the walking or running pose, I've started to do some of the touch-up work on it. It still has some more work that needs to be done, but I think we'll definitely be able to get this done tonight and then be able to finish up the base. My goal, my objective for tonight is to have both of these completely done so that I have time tomorrow in between doing work and things to be able to get the images done so that Friday we can have these really nice pictures to help promote the new product. I've already got the missile launcher here is all touched up and done, so putting that on for the assembly part will be super easy, and we'll just leave that to the side for right now. If by any chance I lose either power or internet, just know that we have a cold front coming, about ready to come through. Parts of it look a little nasty, but that's kind of how it is in Florida when we get a cold front. It can be like really windy and just kind of crazy, and then it's over really fast, or it doesn't even make it. And then sometimes in between. But in case someone's watching the replay and it's like, why is it only 30 minutes or whatever? Well, that might be why, because maybe I lost power. All right, so I'm going to continue on with the green here. Going to continue on with the army green for the touch-up for the T-Ross stuff, and then move forward. I do notice I need to touch up some of the emerald here on the walking pose, but that'll be easy because I've already got that already mixed up. I just need to stir it and stuff. Sorry, I got to answer this really quick. Have my okay. Yeah, so army green. I already started to mix some of that up, and we're going to move forward with this. Now, normally we do the streams on Tuesday nights, but because of last night being my anniversary, I figured it was a good idea to not be here doing this and to come back tonight instead. Gotta find where I need to put my elbow. You know what? I'm going to thin this down a little bit more because I think it's kind of dried out because I've been painting for 40-ish minutes. Rehydrate that a little bit. Yeah, so I have no idea. At the end of the night, I'm going to continue to paint this. That's my goal, is to move forward with this. I don't know if attendance will be down. I don't know who will show up. I don't know. We'll just see how tonight goes. Last week was a pleasant surprise for how many people were here. But, yeah. Either way, gonna still be making progress on this T-Ross because we got to do those picks. Oh, I didn't paint this back here. So for those watching the replay later, the reason that I do, so what my process is, because every painter has a slightly different way, right? I prime the model, usually black or white. It kind of depends on if I want the color going on top to be lighter or darker. Then we base coat it, whatever the primary color is going to be, do all the other not touch-ups, but all the other primary placements. So like in this case, I would do like the emerald, the yellow, the gray, get all that in place, do the dry brushing for the metal parts, which isn't really dry brushing anymore. I've actually just done a really thin down metal or metallic paints. I don't really like the way that the dry brushing, if you're only going to dry brush one thing, not counting weathering, I don't really feel like it looks as good on the metal. I feel like if you do the thin down, it applies easier and it looks better and it's more controlled. And then I do a wash on top of all that. Then I go back through, not the metal parts, but everything else I touch up. And then basically the model ends up looking really clean. And then I dry brush whatever the colors are for the base. And the reason that I do it that way is because I want my models to really pop in the photography. So I want the colors to be very vibrant, to be very solid, to be very noticeable. Because I'm primarily the models are part of my collection, of course, but I want them to be very easily recognizable in images. Like you can see like the different panels, you can see the pose, you show off all of that and stuff. So it's not every painter does it. I know there's lots of different ways, but that's what I feel right now is the style that I like best. So yeah. Profit Miniatures hoping to finish working on my blade guards sculpting or something tonight. Adding cloaks and hair to them is the goal. Nice. You should post pictures in the on the server afterwards. Oh, hey, Kursala. Are you saying that you add water to your dry brushing? No. I misspoke because when I did metallics in the past, I would always dry brush them. And then I started experimenting with thinning them down, and I found that I really prefer that look versus the dry brush look because it just didn't feel as good looking. Like if I was trying to weather like scratched look and stuff, sure. But when you're just when you're just dry brushing just like the barrels of weapons, I don't know, I just didn't care for it as much. It's telling me that you're a possible band evader, which is silly. Well, that is silly. Okay, yeah, because that's what I can see on OBS on my monitor. Possible band evader. I don't even know what that is. Oh. Okay. Oh, I guess because if he just made an account, then maybe he's up to like, oh, he just got banned, so now he's making a new account. I guess that could be it. You forgot your account name. I thought it was Profit something. I thought that you just changed it to Profit Miniatures. I guess it makes sense if you forgot it. You just gotta change it all together, right? I don't know. I'm noticing that, like on Facebook, for example, I did make a new account because I needed to do it for my job, and I didn't want to use my personal account for it, so I made an account, and I started trying to join some different Facebook groups and stuff that we were trying to like interact with community members. Nothing shady, just that I didn't want to be associated with those groups. It was like writing groups, I think it was, and I just didn't want a bunch of those just spamming up my personal Facebook. So like I made a new Facebook account and I realized that like I couldn't join like any groups because basically every group had some rule that was like an automatic thing or a denial to like your request to join because you had to have a Facebook account already for a whole month before you could join groups. And like, so if I've never used Facebook before, I log in, I'm like, hey, I want to go join these miniature groups. And they're like, no, you have to have an account for 3 months. You have to have an account for 1 month. Like, well, then I'm not going to use your stupid, platform. I'll go someplace else where I can get like immediate help, right? Like if I'm trying to join to get questions about, a new hobby or something, because it is possible that someone didn't create a Facebook account before. It could be that too. Kursala could be right. It could be because of the cookies. Yeah, right. And like if you were on a library computer, there could be somebody else who logged in with Twitch. It's like, oh, well, we just recognize that there's been another person here. Like, well, yeah, because I'm on a public computer. I'm not doing anything shady. I imagine, though, that some of those decisions have to be like that because you got like stalkers and stuff chasing after the hot tub girls or something back in the day. Or it really is not even back in the day. It's probably just like earlier this week. Yeah, I guess I should have just joined Facebook sooner, and then I wouldn't be regarded as a pariah. Some of these platforms get a little odd with how secure they are, but then like other platforms that are like your bank or something, they're just like, yeah, here you go. Here's the information. You can log right in. And like, I feel like the bank should be slightly more secure. But maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. I don't know. Need to mix up some more army green. I haven't quite reached the point where I'm tired of this green, but I can feel it getting closer. I've been painting so many new models with this green. I'm like, I need a different color. But we've got all these new Haven models coming out for Orca, so like I need to paint them so that we can promote them. So I'm trying this year to really amp up the pictures and stuff, and it's like, well, then every new product should be painted at its release, so that way it just looks better. Instead of doing like in the past where I would just put something up that's gray, or there's still models that haven't been, they don't have like a painted picture posted because I just never came back around to it. It's like, well, gotta do those ones. It's tough doing a lot of this stuff on your own. But I'd rather be doing this, trying to build this up, than not. There we go. I guess we missed this spot back here. Yeah, you do. Need to get to that Sierra and Sentry. I want to see it. I think it just started raining. No, it definitely started raining. Can you do that, Kursala? Like, will that shut it off for both of us or just for you? Because, I mean, it's not like we... I mean, it would be awesome to have just, like, a lot of, like, organic people, you know, coming in here. For, like, just random people, but... It doesn't seem to happen a whole lot. Getting pretty good. We're pretty close to being done with this green. Well, you'll be able to start watching more and more of them anyway, because not that you're going to rewatch them, but because we're posting them up on YouTube afterwards. That way they can be archived. Speaking of which, I'm hoping to get the last couple of pieces of equipment delivered here Friday, and then I can start making videos. I put everything together. I don't know if you guys can see it in the... it's kind of dark in the background, but I have a my new camera set up. I have a light. I had... is it... Sunday? I think it was. I went through and I set up everything. I have a wall that's bare, that it's just there to be for my studio space. I've got a couple of RGB lights over there. I have two other panel lights. I had all the lighting set up. I set up the tripod, and then I realized that I didn't have a way to be able to see the camera footage. I needed a monitor, so I bought a small one that's coming. And then I needed an audio cable and one other piece. What the heck was the other thing? I needed an audio cable so that I could connect my microphone, because I had to, like, you have to switch it from XLR to 3.5 millimeter, and then I needed a way to get that plugged in. And and then I needed AC power, so that way I can record longer videos, or if I know I'm going to be recording for a while, I don't have to, like, worry about if the battery going to die. Is there a way to, like, a time lapse or something to turn the stream into a short? There is. I could do that. Basically, I would just have to take, because I'm already recording the video, take the video, put it into the editor, and then just speed it up 1,000%. That's a good idea, though. It'd probably have to be a night where, like, I'm really focused and I'm painting, like, a lot, so that way there's, like, a good transition, as opposed to, like, me getting sidetracked talking about things. You know, like, Rick, 30 seconds of this was just watching you talk. I'm hoping when I take the pictures that you won't be able to see the defects that I accidentally did with my airbrush. I don't think you will, but it's possible. It doesn't really show up so much probably on these cameras, so these ones aren't as good. I realize that the low light just does not look as good on these cameras, but I don't have the resources currently to upgrade those, because that would be expensive. Yeah, no, that is true. Especially, like, the one night I painted the Musketeer all the way. Stuff like that, where you can kind of see, like, this was it. There was a piece of lint that just went off of the model. But that way you can see it like all the way get done instead of kind of like where I was kind of working on it like off camera. Kind of like what I did tonight. I kind of cheated just because I wanted to make sure it got done. I didn't want there to be any issue. Like running out of time. Eh. Eh. Let's freshen these up a little bit. And then the green might be done. Please. And I just have to do the emerald, which will probably only need one more coat. So I've already did that a couple of times, but the emerald probably needs to be remixed. So I saw the. I don't know, Kursala. Have you been modeling 2 tanks or only 1? Because I feel like I saw 2 different types of tanks. Because I had failed to catch what the name was, if it had been posted. So then I couldn't keep track of if it was the same tank just with different progress. Did one a few weeks ago and started a new one Tuesday. It's pretty darn good progress then. I've already given the notes over to Ion Raptor to start working on the variant parts for the T-Ross. So I'll tell you guys because you guys are here on the stream. The laser one is, as of right now, the idea is the laser one is going to take the lasers directly off of the Vega, not the entire arm, just the actual barrel assembly, or he can recreate it if he needs to. And then it had, I think it keeps the antennas, and then the missile variant. Oh no, the laser one I think has a anti-missile turret. Then I think that's what it was. Maybe it should have smoke. We'll click that together when it comes time. Basically, there's going to be a smoke grenade launcher. At the moment, it's for the missile variant. And then there's an AMS turret for the laser. But they replace different parts. So like the AMS will replace the antenna. The smoke grenade launcher will replace the light. And then the missile version, so the laser will keep the same missile box that we already have, but the missile variant will replace both the lower arms and the missile launcher. Basically, the missile launcher on top will trade out from being the square box missile launcher, which is the Golan missile launcher. It'll trade that out, and it will have missile tips instead. And basically what it is those missiles are like a hunter-killer sort of missiles, heavier anti-armor. And then the missile arms are going to be used for like area saturation. So it's just going to be tons of like small missiles that it's just a box that's just loaded. So he started to work on getting the ideas together for like the missile box. The laser will obviously be super easy, and the attachments or the alternate parts for like the antenna and the light will be pretty straightforward. But I'm excited for it, and then that'll really allow us some really cool variants. I don't know why I was going to put this over there to make sure all the green's done. I haven't released the other one, and the new one uses several parts from the previous tank. Oh, okay. Well, either way, it was looking pretty From what I remember in the second wave of pictures I saw, it had lots of weapons on it, so that looked pretty cool. We're getting closer to where I'm going to be spending time on the painting streams, at least for a couple of weeks, painting up terrain to go with this setting that we've been working toward all this time, and the stuff I've been doing off camera. And that'll be fun because I haven't done buildings, but I bought a couple weeks ago. I bought dropping stuff. I bought this rust and stain and streaking paint from Vallejo to try out like different rust effects and stuff, because the buildings, basically the Haven forces are protecting a facility that I think the story is at the moment is the facility is processing hydrol, which is a resource that they need in order to power reactors, which also includes the ability to do like hopping in Revelations through the nth dimension, so they fast travel. So they have this area that they're mining and beginning to process the hydrol, and then the setting is that the Republic is attacking to probably, I haven't finished entirely for the narrative, but probably attacking in order to either sabotage the facility or to also disable / take what they can, because hydrol is not a vastly abundant resource. It is limited, and that's why it's a power struggle over it. That's the new one I started on this week. It changed up the weapons a bit though and adjusted. Oh, okay, in the proportions. I don't know if the consistencies for this pack are different or not yet, but I'm looking forward to trying some different effects. And I figure I don't want to do like crazy weathering and like rust and all this other kind of stuff like on combat units for the game, but for the buildings I feel that it really makes sense, especially for a place that's processing and mining, and it's a very dirty and rugged environment. So I think that there would be some additional weathering. I think that will just really make the entire map pop in a different way. So I bought it. It wasn't that expensive, and I figure being able to push myself to try out some new painting techniques, it's not usually a bad thing. Eep. Oh, hey, whoa. Welcome. Glad you're here. Finishing up these Tiras, hopefully. We have a new blog post that Woe wrote. We finished that up the other day. I read over and made some edits, but we're going to be posting that. Right now, my idea is, like I said earlier, the launch idea is Friday. So the article is ready to go, and then we'll be able to do that at launch. So hopefully tomorrow or Friday morning, I can get some other stats going, and we can get that all finished. Why is that colored down? I don't even need that. I need this one. But, okay, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it because it'll be our second blog article, but it'll be like our first like real one to start promoting some new elements. We're still kind of figuring out the formatting and the process for things, and it'll get better and better over the coming weeks and months as we do more and more of them. Honestly, I know a lot of the holdup is waiting on me to come up with content or things that Woe simply cannot fill in because it hasn't been answered. It doesn't exist. Yeah, exactly, Woe. Yeah. and then it'll be ironed out as far as like what's the best process, and some of that is also waiting to see on feedback from readers, and then where you start to see like, okay, the lore component is doing really well, so maybe it makes sense to do 2 articles where one's only focused on the lore side, and then like all of the selling and stuff, which you put a little bit in the lore side just so that it's cross promotion, you know. Or is it better to like, you know, tactics, right? Like maybe a lot more players are like, I really want to know how to play this model the best, and then kind of go from there. So we just kind of play it, and since it's a blog, we have the ability to do longer form content as opposed to like on Facebook, where you really like, you can write longer posts, but a lot of people don't want to read longer posts. So you got to really trim it down to get the idea across. And that's been something I've had to work at for a while, of like, I want to say a lot more sometimes, but I need to just like give one call to action. And even then, like, you don't always get a good response just because people are used to just hitting like and moving on with their life. Imagine that after months of this, you'll be able to tell some high level stuff. And I can go, yeah, I think that'll happen too. The more and more that we're doing these, the more that things are out there and available. I've been really overcorrected there, and I painted the wrong thing. Thankfully, though, the paints are usually pretty thin, and I can fix that mistake. There we go. I spent some time. Welcome back. I spent some time working on a new outline. The story is not entirely outlined 100%, but I've been having an itch to get back into the lore creation, the story side. And I want to wrap up in the next like 2 months and get the first Shards in Time book published, which will be containing just short stories, some that we've seen. This one, obviously, that I'm coming up with right now is a brand new one, but it'll be cool because, without trying to spoil it, but the idea is following a character who lives on the planet Factorum in the Core Republic, and I imagine you could probably guess what sort of planet that is by the name. But just kind of showing like a different part of the Republic. It's not a combat thing. It's just a more of an interesting... it's going to be a much shorter story. It's only going to be... My goal is like 8 to 10 pages. So not every short story needs to be like my normal format where it ends up being like 20 or 40 pages. I want some of them to be a little bit faster, and then I can have more of them because they cover a wider range of things. I think I done goofed slightly there. It's going to take me a bit more in the universe in my head, and you trust me to... Well, yes. And that will, I'm sure will come, because it'll help me to get more other things done. All right. I think I should touch that up back there. Since I already got this out anyway, let's do it. Oops. Hopefully you guys couldn't hear that, and if you could, I apologize. Maybe I just scratched it. No, and it's better that you don't rush stuff like that, because you want to make sure that it gets... You know, this is a whole new landscape here for both of us, so you want to make sure that it's being done faithfully for the lore and everything else, and plus there's the learning edge of what will work, you know, and finding the best voice for the blog and all that. So while that finishes up drying, what we can do, we can, oh, I don't want to touch the missile launcher because I just touched that up. We got the base here, and I don't like it not having rocks, so I added rocks to the other base, and I think I'm gonna add some more. I'm gonna add some grass as well to the other base before we're done. But I need to let this guy dry. Set him down here with the fan so we can move this along. Oh yeah, Krasala is well aware of how long it takes to kind of get on the inside of some of this stuff. I'm just thankful to have people that believe in Revelations and are willing to help. And then as we, you know, continue to grow, I want to honor that. So I'm gonna need dark stone in a little bit, and we will need these 3 colors. Oh no, I just did dark stone. I'm not going to do that. As of right now, if there was anyone who's understood some of the inner workings, it's been Kursala. he's had to get brought up to speed on a number of things. All right, let's grab. I found these, I think at Hobby Lobby. Yeah, it was at Hobby Lobby. I found this bag of rocks. Obviously, I've changed the bag out. And I was like, these would be really great to have some larger boulders. And so I took them and I washed them off because they were dusty. Rinsed them off like twice. Let them dry. And yeah, it's pretty nice. And they were pretty affordable because, you know, they're rocks. We'll just probably just use one on this one. And then I still have my bag of much smaller gravel that will probably be with me and for a very long time. We'll just set some of those out. We'll use a couple of those. Uh-oh, don't start. Oh, you started the slap chop. Oh, no. Yep. Oh, you brought Kursala. Yo, that's it. You're done. There's it's a stupid name that doesn't make any sense. So I can't dry brush. This one is basically completely just waiting for the dry brush phase. So, oh, and I get to try out the makeup brushes tonight for the dry brushing. That'll be cool. Has anyone in between the conversation of the it's Zenithal, then contrast, but added manual highlights to get it an army done quickly for a commission. I still haven't noticed. I want to experiment with some more with Zenithal highlighting. I have not noticed enough of a return for the time that it took. Because when you're doing like a whole bunch of units, which is usually when I was experimenting with it, I just didn't notice enough with the final to be like, yeah, this was worth the extra hour of work between all these models and you know, getting the changing the paints out and stuff. I haven't seen it yet. Polygon's here. Well, I guess he's not. He's leaving. Bye, Polygon. I didn't even know you were here. But have a good night. Well, and that's actually the thing is, like, for me, I'm not doing thin coats if I can. Well, I do thin coats for the touch up. When I'm doing the prime color, I just want to just cover it. Not, you know what I mean? Like, I still, like, if you flip the model over, you can still see where there's some darker spots where it's the black. And then I don't touch up the under, because I like having a little bit of the shadow if you do happen to see anything under the model. Wait, Stommel's here? Well, hey, how are you guys just sitting here just lurking? You ain't even jumping in and saying nothing. Hiding from me. I don't think I have seen your work in progress. Let's see if this guy's done. Oh, he's close. If I touch that, it's gonna really mess up. Yeah, no, and yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, they might not want to chat. I can see the viewer count on the tablet here, but just saying, hey, you don't have to like chat a lot. Just, you know, say hey, something, whatever. So these are actually, that part of things moved a little bit quicker. Oh. Let's see. What did Prophet put in the Discord server? Where is it? Oh. In progress. My goodness. No, I have not seen this. That looks really good. Busy eating ice cream. What flavor of ice cream? Was it cookie dough? Orange zenithal, then a coat of orange ink. Okay. Yeah, no, it looks good. Looks really good. I really want that to be done because I want to move forward. I'm just stuck waiting. Let me get my super glue out. And then... yeah, kind of just... good enough. I'll touch it up once I move it to the other base. Oh, strawberry ice cream. How about that? Just carefully. There we go. Be gone, fake base. There we go. Just have to clean off the bottom of the foot. So, Stommel, have you made any more progress on the Ares? So I'm still looking forward to seeing that. I know you've probably been busy, but just curious. I had a meeting with Strieger Design, Carl, who was the one who modeled the Ares Mark II, and it's about a different project. And he was commenting on, because I was like, yeah, I still haven't painted one of the areas. I need to do it. And he's like, yeah, don't paint it when you assemble it. Like, paint it first. I am a glutton for punishment when it comes to that, though, because I like to see the model fully painted or fully assembled. So I will. But I have an Ares somewhere. I have an Ares that's fully assembled that needs to be painted so I can add it to my Benson forces. Okay. Well, I'm gonna find a better spot. Let's try a different base then. Exactly. Can't paint it. It's a shadow. Oh, are you guys getting ready to sell your house? Yeah, that's a whole... I just got done with the whole moving adventure, so you have... Yep. I'm sympathetic. I know how much work that is. Alright, I'm gonna... cut part of that. What if I have to, like... hide it? Yeah. Okay, so the foot's gonna go right there. Oh, that is the wrong super glue. Get out of here. I know this won't be the last time for us because we don't own this house, so I know we'll have to move at least one more time. Hoping the next time will be to a place we get to own, but we shall see how that all plays out. Now we just hold it for a little bit. Don't. Man, I think I moved it too far. Shoot. No. No. I didn't look at it. Oh, no. Well, it's moving right off that whole freaking base. That's just the way it's going to be. We're going to build up a nice little rock mound over here to justify why it's so far on the base. That was totally planned. Definitely not a mistake. It's 100% what I meant to do from the beginning. Gotta dodge the tactical rock. 100%. I need a few more tactical rocks. All right. Why don't we do this? At least for the moment. I have a little bit of paint on that rock because I was experimenting with how I would need to paint it. Because what I did when I did all of these, I made a bunch of bases up before I obviously finished painting the models. So that way the bases were basically ready to go. Dry brushed them and everything. Well, this time I actually went and painted each and every individual rock. So that way, because I've never done that before. But I wanted all the colors to match. And then I have a notebook over there that I write down the paint colors I use. And for whatever reason, I forgot to mark what was the color I used for the rocks. So I had to guess. And I'm still not convinced 100% it was right, but we're going with it. So this part, I think what I did before though too was I actually can't tell if I added it. Oh yeah, I definitely did. When I spread all of the texture paint, I definitely put the rocks into that. So now I'm kind of like on top of it. But I'm just gonna have to live with it. I could use this to carefully hold the rock. Nope, it's not big enough. Different tweezers. Jeez. These are itty bitty. Normally what I would have done in the past was just put super glue down and then just add things to it. And then I started realizing that you can see the super glue in the area that didn't get covered with gravel, right? So I'm trying to do a little bit more precise. You can barely even tell I'm even placing them, but once we can pick the model back up, you'll see all the stuff I've been doing. No. No. Glue on the base, not on the pliers. Tweezers. Whatever they are. Alright, Stommel, have a good night. Thanks for being here. Okay. Put a rock right here. Right. Let go. Stay. Stay. Do not glue to my tweezers now. Yeah, that actually could work though too, Crusoe. I've done similar in the past. I've experimented with the baking soda actually because of Prophet's recommendation. Even try it. I never even knew that was even a thing. Oh no! Don't glue up there. Glue down there. There we go. All right. So that looks pretty good. Now we need a couple more, but on the other side. Don't glue to me. No, it's a phenomenal basing material, and I was completely sleeping on it. I had no idea. And that was what I did for the Benson map. That's what all that is. That's all covered with it. And then I think I added some like other gravel and stuff to different parts, but I mean it was whoops, well that part's gone. See you later, little rock. All right, let's see what's doing right here. Yeah. Satisfied with that. So that you guys can see this. So you can see all the small brown rock. Not too many, but it's enough to add some additional, terrain element to it. I'll actually go ahead and add a couple more over by the boulders just to... I gotta wait for the other ones to completely dry anyway, so we'll just add a little bit more time. Why not? I'll drop it down there next to the fan and we'll get it going. Come on. These tweezers are like slightly too big, but it's okay. Guess I'd rather slightly too big than definitely too small and can't do the job. Thankfully, these just being metal, I can just cut off all the super glue after. Let's do this one right here if I can do it. There we go. All right, let's set this down by the fan to get some airflow there. I've just been doing it for over 2 years. Yeah, and that I think that's the case. Well, with a lot of us, a lot of us are at different phases. I know that like Prophet likes to do different types of painting styles. He does a lot of dry brushing, and I experimented with it. And I'm just not a big fan of it, but he's been able to pull it off, and it looks really good. And then I've seen some of your stuff. I know that some of yours, you've been following different because you're doing a lot of Warhammer stuff, which I guess Prophet is too, but he's just doing his own thing. But I mean, it's all good. And I know Kursala likes to do his overlays. You haven't used dry. Well, the last couple of things that I've seen from you that you've shown me has been dry brushing. Oh, inks, huh? Yeah, it was layering with the dry brushing. What are you talking about? Trying to make me seem like I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Nobody ain't got no time for no thin layers. I say that, and then like I've been painting like with thin layers lately. Were you starting to do oils though? Just gonna use just a little bit. I don't want to mix too much. I'm using where's the, there we go, dark stone to paint the stones. Now, thin layers definitely do help with certain jobs because it's a little bit also like more forgiving because you're not doing like a hard and fast kind of thing where like it has to be perfect, otherwise you've messed up. And then you can like also like wipe them away if you do make a mistake, which has been good for me because I've also gone and made some mistakes. If you would have told me a year ago that I'd be painting rocks, individual rocks, I'd be upset with you. But you know what? The model does look better for it when it's done. Because then everything matches. Which I know not all rocks match, but I didn't want all of the rocks that I paint or use on my models to always be like the same colors. Which was what was going on because I was pulling from the same pool of rocks. You're like, well, these are different planets, so surely their rocks aren't always going to be the exact same color palette, right? Like, no, I guess you're right. Oh, music stopped. Here we go. Yeah, isn't it? It's an irony. You have to paint rocks to make them look like rocks. Because sometimes you're not using rocks as a material, you're using something else. So then you really need it to match. Very much learn who needs someone to comment as I go, not someone who can just see directions and figure it out. Yeah, I understand that. I can be like that sometimes. But you know, it's like as you keep pushing yourself to try to make things more, like in my case, I'm trying to make it more cinematic, right? More or thematic, where everything feels tied together and it's this whole like presentation. Then you really do find yourself in need of, oops, sorry again, painting rocks. Because that can be part of the story, is making sure, or the consistency is making sure everything stays together. Oh, fee. I was like, fee based. You should, Prophet. I think you've gotten really, really good at painting. I feel like I'm passable enough. But like some of the stuff you've done has been like, wow, that's really something. My issue has been as a painter, and it's the same thing as writing and everything else, I guess, is the level of commitment to take it to the next level feels like, oh wow, if I'm gonna have to start painting, like in this example, if I have to keep just painting rocks, like is the payoff gonna be worth it, right? Like is the am I gonna feel like I wasted an extra 30 minutes per model or something? You're like, what's really not doesn't take that long to do this. But in my head, I'm fighting it because I don't. It's just one more thing to do. I've already got all these other things to do. Well, yeah, and it may not help you. Well, but there'll be other people who can get something. I might even get something out of it. Like, not that I know like a ton of things. Yes, right. I mean, my purpose is that they stand out very vibrantly in pictures on purpose to show off the product, and that hopefully the paint jobs feel achievable by a semi-average painter. Hopefully that a new painter feels confident enough to try it because they're not too crazy. So yeah, I've kind of put myself in a different box than what you've done because yours is showing off your skill. Thankfully, though, this allows me to show off enough of my skill that I can do it. Carefully in between the legs. Don't touch the feet. Don't want to be in such a hurry that I end up hitting stuff I don't want to. It's like right now, this paint is not thinned down. This is straight out of the bottle. And I want it to be thick enough to entirely coat the rock. I don't want to change the opacity at all. I just want it to work. I don't think anyone will notice that. But we'll just leave that. Oh, they will definitely notice that though. I need to do some more YouTube shorts to kind of show off these models. Now that have a decent catalog of them that are painted. Which is still not like that many. I still have a lot of stuff to get to. I mean, I would, that might work. I haven't been sure if, like, battle reports at all are... I know some people, like, their channel, like, is that, right? Like, that's what they do. But I wasn't sure if there would be any interest. Which I guess you kind of got to do one or two to kind of see if there is. I have this bad tendency, like, by nature, to hate wasting time and to, like, to know that basically whatever I'm going to do is going to work. It's like, that's not how life is. And I've had to wrestle with that as I get older, to not put my expectations or my, you know, hesitancy to try something simply because I don't know how it's going to work. Oh, we can get in there. Like tactical turn or two with your painted stuff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, profit. That is the downside to a lot of like the painting stuff. They're like, and then they're using colors that aren't really listed, and it's like, man, that just messes with people. My battle report's not that particularly interested in the battle report itself, but I like seeing the gameplay and getting to see the setup, how things work, and some of the drama doesn't need to be super detailed. Yeah. And I know, like, some of the guys, I wouldn't want to do it this way, but some of the guys do, like, their videos where they're, like, wearing a GoPro or something, and they're doing it, and it's like, that's so... It feels irritating to watch. Like, I'll watch something like that if it's recorded with a cell phone, but it's because, like, there's news or something. It's a live event, or someone's recording it because they're just out. They're just a citizen, right? And so... Like, that's all they got. They don't have a camera setup. But I feel like for people that are doing, you know, battle reports that are getting thousands of views, setting up a proper camera setup is the way to do it. So that it's not so, like, jerky for the viewer. All right. So now we just let that part dry. And then we start doing the base coating. Or not base coating, the dry brushing. So we can see now you can see where all the rocks are. Now they all really stand out, when before it happened to be that the color of the smaller rocks kind of just blended in with the base. But now they'll really be vibrant. I mean, dry brush will kind of pull them down, but you'll still see the darker undercoat. And then we can do some grass. So we're definitely on... Oh yeah, we'll definitely get these done tonight, which is awesome, because then I can... those other images going, and it's going to be good. I feel like that still turned out wrong for whatever reason. I'm going to touch up the emerald on that. Wait for the paint to dry anyway. I have no idea why that one thigh, which probably didn't even really need that much to touch it up, I did anyway, and now... Oh, boy. Let's call it. Mix the color or something. It started to already separate. Sweet. Does anyone happen to see the new Avatar movie? I don't remember if you had. Well, I haven't gotten to see it yet. Just kind of interested now that some of the hype has kind of died down, as people still have the same view of it that have seen it. That's what I was kind of thinking I was going to do as well, was I was going to wait until it came out on streaming, because just, I don't know. What's up, Sigmas? How are you doing this evening? Making really good progress over here. Ew. Anybody thirsty? Don't drink that. So we'll be... Dry brushes are here. Working overtime. Making all that money. Overtime money. Which is good. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's helpful. You know what? I actually don't want to throw away these little rocks. This gravel here, because I didn't use a couple of them. I might as well put them away. There's only one? No, there's two. Come here. Time and a half is good. Well, not all of us can make the engineering money. Well, we gotta leave it there for the engineers. Then we need... Oh. I guess I was going to try out one of the makeup brushes. And Verg isn't here to be able to tell me which one's the best one to go with. Let's see. We have quite a few here to choose from. That one. Maybe this one. Let's try these two. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing the massive one. That one's for like terrain or something. That one's really big. But I'm going to try these out. I mean, I bought them because it was his recommendation that they did so much better. They definitely are pretty soft. Yeah. I haven't even had a project yet to use them on. Last time I did dry brushing, I didn't have them, but we shall see. They weren't, it was I bought a fairly cheap pack, $9 or something, and it came with like, I don't know, 15 brushes or something. But I'm willing to buy more expensive brushes in the future. I just didn't want to experiment with something expensive because that just feels... It just hurts me. Yeah, for dry brushes, you really don't. You're right. But I mean, like, if there was... Like, I bought the the Army Painter dry brushes, and I have another one that's in a box. But I got these 3 different dry brushes, and they're very nice. They've held up, but it was like $25 to get 3 brushes. So like I'm willing to buy something that's gonna last, but because I hate buying brushes that are just they don't hold up. If they're expensive, if they're like $1 or $2, whatever, when you get them out of the multi-packs, it's like, I'm not going to cry over that. If I got enough projects out of it, I'm happy. All right, are you all dry? Close enough. Okay, so we got 2 Tiras here. First thing we're going to be doing is some Basilisk Brown, which looks awfully yellow, but it says brown. It's funny because this is Basilisk Brown, which to me looks yellow. And then I have Desert Yellow, which to me looks very tan, more in the brown family. Whatever. Just funny. And what I need to do this time is not set the model down into the wet paint on my dry brush palette here. Oh, is that what the secret is? See, that makes sense in a way that doesn't make sense. You have the secret to paint names is they don't make sense. And then you're like, wow, this doesn't make sense. But you know what? That's okay. The real secret is the friends you made along the way. I like that. That's nice. Okay. Try to do this in a way that doesn't go super crazy. Let's see. So far, so good. Actually, it's pretty nice. Oh, I don't want to toss any bodies in the swamp. The gators will get them. Nobody wants to go out like that. Those were the friends we made with the gators. You know, I can say one thing. The gators ate well. What? It's terrible. All right. Now we'll start testing out on the leg. Some of the Rainy River paint names make sense. I mean, I guess from what I've seen, yeah, some of them do. Not that if they didn't make sense, it would make anything worse, because, I mean, the bar is set real low for paint names to make any sense at all. Looking at you, Citadel. Naming names of paint that I don't know what the heck they mean in lore because I don't follow it. Yeah, Prophet. Yeah, because Kursal is also the Rainy River Designs. He owns that, so he makes. So I have some of his paints. We're going to be doing in a stream here eventually. Once I get through these, I'm going to paint up a mercenary, at least one mercenary mech on a stream to show off some of those paints. because I haven't even tested him out all the way myself, so I'm looking forward to that. But he also is the one who makes the Revelation shirts, mercenaries. He makes all, but yeah, I don't know if Chrysalia, if I ever told you, actually, Prophet and I had discussed making paints 2 years ago, and then just stuff kind of just happened and didn't happen, and then we just kind of just didn't pursue that all the way. But we had talked about it quite a bit. So game-wise, is the Tiras more comparable to something like a Sierra? Actually, yes. The Sierra, when the Tiras was made by Haven, in lore-wise, it was designed in order to be like Haven's Sierra, essentially. Because the Sierra it's not only a very iconic mech visually, like to us in the real world, because it's triangular, it's very different, right? It was the first mech we did, and it was on purpose. But also, in universe, the Sierra is like, it's so time-tested that it's proven itself to be very reliable, and it just does its jobs very well. So it's stuck around. That's why the Sierra is in its 6th generation, right, of major overhauls and stuff. So it's the thing that a lot of stuff gets compared to. So a lot of nations will use the Sierra when they're designing like their assault mech, their common frontline grunt kind of thing. They'll base a lot of that off of the Sierra because it's so abundant, it's everywhere. I mean, even Haven uses them for the Barrage Sierras, right? They use salvage Sierras that have been sold to them or that they've acquired, and they just strap on the missile boxes from the Vega and just call it a new mech. So you can totally wait. What? Talking about Prophet? Yeah, I can. It's pretty close. I don't know when that's all up to Prophet. I'm like, because I'm consistently doing the painting stream, so at least like now people can start to count on it. But like he'll paint his stuff and it'll be so much better than mine, and my saving grace will be, yeah, but mine will be the official pictures. It isn't saying much. It doesn't really mean it's good. It just means I did it. I don't even want to be the one to paint forever. Did you offer? I don't remember. I think that may have been before when I was doing the previous stream. So now I've kind of just gotten back into things. So now it's different again. All right. I'm gonna say that one is done with the Basilisk Brown. Yellow. Should get some early model Sierras and do them as poor mercs. Oh no. Oh, was it? Was it back then that we were? Well, we'll have to rehash that out and we'll have to see how to best accomplish that in a way that everyone can see things. If anything, we should get another streamed game in, is what we should do. Especially because the previous how to play video is so friggin' old. And now we'll actually be able to control all of that because we won't be having to do it at that game store. Which was nice of them to allow us to, but there's only so much I could do there. There, and then we need to have it here. Yep. Yeah, and maybe I'll have a shirt that people can actually buy. Yeah, and that's actually what I'm going to be doing. I'm one of the things I'm wanting to start doing here. I don't know if I'll be able to do them next week when I start videos again, but is to do how to plays, but they'll focus on like 1 or 2 mechanics. It'll be, you know, how do you do a ranged attack, and it'll be, that video is only about how to do a ranged attack, because I feel like people will have questions or something, and they need to be able to find a very accessible way to find that information, not have to watch a 2 or 3 hour video hoping that we cover that in a proper way that they feel that they can really emulate and learn from. So that is something, yes, you're 100% right. That is a fantastic suggestion that we are already in the works of doing. And one thing I find really weird is that like a lot of games don't do that. They don't have official videos about how to play, and I find that to be so odd, other than they don't want to pay the expense for the equipment or someone to come out and do it. But it's like, this is your game. Who best to teach people how to play? But a lot of game companies seem that they just leave it to the player base to do a lot of that stuff, and that seems really just backwards to me. It's like, you know, you're promoting your own game. Why not get those videos made to really show it off and get people excited? But I don't know. They also make more money than I do, so maybe they know something we don't. Yeah, I know 40K does some, but I don't know if that's because 40K doesn't want to, because their stuff changes, it feels like, so often. Not just with codexes, but just like with erratas or other things. Maybe they don't want to go through the trouble of putting together a video that ends up like just not being useful for very long. So the content just doesn't age well. Maybe that could be it. Or they just honestly don't care because they don't need to. They're like, well, we're GW. They're going to buy it or they're not. And if they're not going to buy it, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, kind of thing, you know? Could be that. But I want to. I think that'll be something that will help spread awareness of the game. Now time for Burnt Orange. Yeah, and that I agree with you. Yeah, right. The battle reports won't make any sense unless it's mostly narrative driven. If people can't follow, like you make some critical roll, right? Some really big deal roll, and like if people don't understand, well, how do you do your armor saves or your defense modifiers, or you know, they don't know anything about the order cards. It doesn't end up. It just kind of feels like, well, I wish I could understand, but I feel like I'm missing a lot of information. Yeah, we'll start on this one again. Pick him back up. Oof. Too much paint on here for this color. I'm just adding a little bit of life to it. Oops. Add a little bit more there. We're getting pretty close, but I'll say he is done. Which is very exciting. Oh yeah, so am I. Whoa. I'm really excited about the blog post, like completely overall, because I feel like it really adds something that hasn't been there. Like, and I've done some small announcement stuff, you know, like when I show a model off, but I'm excited to see how this one performs, if it makes any difference at all, or I still feel like it makes things feel more professional, which is great. It's a small, you know, studio to do more and more things to stand out or be comparable to the big boys. Hey, Jam. Hey, late is still great, right? Like, he's still here. Thank you for being here. Hopefully work went, if you were at work, that it went well. Finishing up. We're doing the dry brushing now for both of the Tiroses. Which is kind of, you know, wrapping up the lion's share of the end, but I mean, it's the part that pulls it all together. Yeah, no, that is true. Whoa, the first one usually you can't, but I mean, it starts to, just like I'm trying to set an expectation of like this is what to expect when we're doing, you know, models now with STLs are pre-supported. Now we're trying to make sure that things are painted well so that show off the model at launch, and the streams are now weekly, so now you can count on that, and it just starts to build that expectation of. Oh, Revelation Skirmish has a new model coming out. I can expect an article that's going to, you know, highlight that and talk about some things of the lore and things that maybe I missed in the development phase or stuff like that. So it all adds together. Probably won't notice some huge spike of interest or something off of one, for sure, but it's always nice to keep adding to it. Well, thank you, Jam. Appreciate that. Yeah. Only got one more color to add after this, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So that one is done with the burnt orange. Now we're going to do the braced pose. Start off here with the rocks again. I'll have to remember when I come back to really make sure all the ground is also tied together, because if you can see, the burnt orange kind of spread a little bit further than I wanted, but I need to do the rock properly, so I just have to come back and make sure it's touched up properly. Which part makes me sound almost professional? The blogs? Or just all of it? Or I'm definitely overanalyzing right now what I just said. What did I say? What did I? Yeah, actually, that would be very helpful for when the article goes up. If anybody in the community kind of says, just help us to. Um, Actually, Jam, you weren't here, so we have an article coming out. Woe wrote because he's helping with the blog now. That's going to be discussing the Tiras. It's coming out hopefully on Friday. I'm hoping to have both of these up to be available with the STLs and everything as well. But he wrote I edited, but he wrote a article about the Tiras. Has some cool lore tidbits, and it has some real world stuff, a little bit of tactical use. Oh yeah, no, I guess you're right. Yeah, Chris, it's the whole package, and that's what I'm hoping is the blog posts, the videos, the painted pictures, the priest supports, la 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 la, all of it continues to just show that we're White Light Media and myself are super dedicated to doing this, and that we're and everyone who's helping in different capacities behind the scenes or even in front where people can see, the helping with the team is actually starting to have a shape and stuff, then yeah, hopefully people see more and more. This will be in July will be the 3rd year that the game's been live. So there's some games that don't even last 3 years. Yes, we're a smaller operation, so we get away with things different, but still here, still trying, still growing. Once we get the videos underway, I want to try to get back to doing some more Warfleet development. I want to do pull some stuff together to do probably going to do a Kickstarter later this year. That would be ideal. There's too much paint there. I'm messing it up. I'm just gonna say we're done with this color, so I don't. All right, it's tying together now. Now just to do the desert yellow. And my fear was I glued it too far over to the side, but I think it still works. It's still mostly on the base. I would have just moved it over slightly. I don't know why in the world I moved it that far over, but I think it still works. There's enough of the rocks there to kind of... in person, it doesn't look as bad. On the camera, worst case, I may have to cut it off the base and move it over a couple millimeters just to re-glue it and fix the base. It happens. That's an interesting way to say that, Prophet. On Revelations model that I've learned a lot more about painting. Well, and I'll be excited to see, because you have a very different style than mine, so to kind of show it off in the models in a different way. That's also always cool. Plus, just to have more and more people painting and showing off progress is always, I'm always excited. For Rusty City. Or Parade Colors. Those are very different. Either way, I'm excited. Either way. Yeah, that is a weird amount of paint there. Now that I've completely used all the desert yellow in order to get the paintbrush ready. Let's try to, whoa. There we go. All right. Don't mess up this part. No pressure. Don't mess it up. Can't even really flip and tell there's even that color's even there. Don't paint anything to a new factory standard, so I may not do that with the Sierra. No, that's totally fine. No, I mean, you can do your super weathered look and stuff that you do, because, I mean, that's... Some of these machines, I mean, have been used, not for hundreds of years, it's not like Battletech. But, I mean, some of them, especially if they're mercenary mechs, I mean, they get used, you know, pretty extreme. So, and they're not getting repaired back. Not always. They're not always getting repaired back to a factory level of quality, right? Right off the floor. But you've also spent a lot of time learning how to paint a very weathered and worn look. So, I mean, it even, like, that's where I've been investing time in learning how to do more of a newer look. So, way too much paint there. I almost messed that whole thing up. Thankfully, I didn't, but it got really close. Well, I thought we've already talked about Frankenmechs, Corsala. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is a possibility, especially more of getting into like the space pirates. It's 100% a possibility, and I can see coming out with some pretty crazy stats that may, you know, it's more of like a, why in the world would I ever take this? Well, it's because it narrative play. If you're playing a campaign against some pirate mechs, it doesn't mean that they have the best forces, but you need stats for them. So yeah, they might be kind of garbage, but it's still fun because you're playing against Frankenmechs, you know, and that's fun. And then players can feel more comfortable of coming up with some crazy assembled options out of their own stuff. That's... like I could keep like touching and adding and stuff, but it's like at some point I just gotta just say it's good. I think we're pretty much there. Making sure I got everything to layer the colors. Yeah. That blends pretty well together. It's a little bit of... so we can try to do a little bit. Might have to get a smaller brush, but... I know this would take a lot of back end work, but one day having a mech hero builder is the dream. Well, and you can make your own custom units. That is already a thing. That's already available. Like right now, you can go and make your own custom unit that you can play with. But if you mean more in like an official capacity of like, this is how you go and make your own hero stuff, I could see that being a possibility. it'll be something that we have to like pay the developer for because it's not already there. But I could see it being a thing that gets added. I don't know if you're dumb, but I mean, we've had the custom unit builder on there for a long time. It was actually in the Wave 1 stuff. You can go and you can make your own weapons. You can make your own special abilities. Um, your own. You set up all the stats, points, everything. You get to decide. And it's a part of your account when you make it. So then when you go to build your list, you can add it. So like if you made some new generic Mars, right? Like you want to make a Mars that's like a missile boat. I don't know, just as a thing. That's always there. You can uh, use those forever. They won't be available to everybody else yet. We don't have a way to share custom units, but you can definitely make your own. That would be something I'd like to add later, as there's a bigger and bigger community that do more custom stuff. That's you know one of my friends very much wanted to do Frankenmechs. It's yeah, I mean Frankenmechs because you could use the custom unit maker and you can go build your own unit. So you could build however many mechs you wanted, or you could even use a mech and say this is just it's got the stats of a goblin, but it's some weird Sierra monstrosity mixed with I don't know, a T-Ross and a Zever tank. I don't know. You could do that, but yeah. Well, I'd like to have some more. I want to encourage the 3D printing side of things, and really be able to get into like, or the custom element, because there would be weird, freaky things out there of different mechs and stuff. So why not allow people to use it? It wouldn't be legal for like tournament stuff, but we're not doing tournaments right now. We don't really have to worry about that. I think that doing custom units for everyone should probably be reserved for trusted community members. Well, you can make your own. It's not making it official, but you can make your own custom units for your own forces. So nobody else is being affected by you making some tactical nuke mech, right? That's not hurting anybody else because you wanted to have that in your campaign or something. But as far as if we wanted to allow people to share their custom units, it would just be something where you could just toggle between my custom mechs or no custom units, or show others. And maybe it wouldn't be all in the unit builder. Maybe what it would be is build some other feature part to the website. And this would have to be talking to the developer, of course, but where like you can go through like this catalog and then you can add it to your inventory. So Profit's custom two-headed Sierra, you've added that to your inventory. So now you can pick that mech when you build your forces. But like it wouldn't be in mine because I didn't add it to my custom inventory. I can see ways it could work, but I wouldn't want just any old person, adding it to the master database of like, I just want to build my list and like, what's all this weird stuff? That's way too much stuff. That would go crazy quick. Okay, yeah, publish. Okay, yeah, public. Yeah. See? We were on the same wavelength. I just misunderstood it first. I'd restrict what ends up public facing, either needing a moderator to sign off or trusted members to build public ones. Exactly, yeah. I don't want somebody naming their unit something not safe for work and that being like available, because I want like teens and such to feel safe in the community, especially on like the generic like list building website. Like that's open for everybody, right? So you don't want things getting out of hand there. That's no good. We don't want that. We want people to feel welcome and safe, right? Yeah, I think that's working. Yes, and I as being part of a generation that grew up with the internet, I know not to just randomly trust strangers to do the right thing on the internet. All right, so let's get some of this grass out. So we're going to be using the gamer's grass that I have here. It's got some alien blue and alien turquoise. All of these to pick from and pull something fancy. Gamer's grass to me is literally no different than the Army Painter tufts. It's just different colors. I don't notice any. Oh, I guess I'll take it back. With here's one that you can see easier. With Army Painter, for those who are not familiar with their tufts, they have just 3 sizes, right? And that's it. So you got like a large one, medium size, and then smalls, which is great, but like it's kind of just really straightforward. But with the alien, with the gamer grass, they do different shapes. So you can see there's like an L here, some other weird squiggly, and like they'll do like the small ones still. And I like it, feels more alive rather than just being like these preset sizes. That I don't hate it. I've used Army Painter. I bought more. Like I love it, but I like having different shapes as well. Well, and we do have those safeguards right now that I'm the only one that can post at the moment, so that kind of prevents any shenanigans. But yeah, I don't expect you to try to slip something past me. But down the road, we'll have more and more people that have different access. But then you have moderators, like Kursala is a moderator here on the stream. We'll end up having moderators. We haven't needed anybody else yet in Discord. But I can see one day needing that, maybe in the not so distant future. I will say also, Prophet, the actual adhesive for the gamer grass does feel a little bit stickier than Army Painter. Army Painter is like, it's like enough to hold the tuft together kind of thing. But I am adding some super glue to this anyhow. So let's put this one right here. We'll trim that down a little bit when it comes time. Put that one there. We'll do a blue one. Well, I'm hoping for right now we don't need a moderator. I was a little more concerned on Twitch because Twitch is open to the public, so anybody can come in here. And we have had issues with bots. So far with Discord, that has not been an issue whatsoever, but I appreciate knowing that if the need arises, you might be willing to help out. Hopefully, I've only ever had to kick, not counting Twitch, because that doesn't count because you just get bots. I've only ever had to kick one person out of the community. I've been doing this now for 5-ish years of revelations in total between lore and novels being published and stuff, so thankfully we haven't used the ban hammer too much. No, bots. And I guess you're right. The difference really isn't vast. There is a difference, but it's not really crazy. I like to come back and trim some of this so that it... because, when they're assembling them, sometimes they're a little crazy the way that it ends up looking. And I feel like it kind of disrupts the the appearance of it as a finished. Yeah, you spend all this time painting this thing. You want it to look good when it's all the way said and done. Yeah. Yes. This one is finished. I'm happy with it. In a community of over 1,000 that has only had to ban like 3 people in over 5 years. That's really good. That's really good. Because that's a lot of people. And there's a lot of room for some craziness, right? So maybe put something small here. And then we'll do more to kind of show off the back there. So let's do let's flip it. Let's do a pink one on the other side because I don't want to mirror that. You know what? We can do this right next to the rock, I think. Let's try that. Yeah. And you definitely also set the tone in your community with how people at the top behave and what they tolerate and whatnot. So I try to do a decent job of setting that tone. So that you don't have to deal with people's crazy behavior or aggressive their aggressive acts. It's like 96 on there. That's crazy. That's a lot of posting you're doing there. Let's do this one. A little bit of a wider one, but the thing I really like about the painting community is that although there are a lot of competition, I don't see a ton of people full of themselves starting drama. It depends. Like I saw in the I'm on a 40K group in on Facebook, and like I saw people like just totally just crapping on other people's work. And like, this is not cool to just behave like this. And I was really surprised because usually people are like, hey man, you probably want to thin your paints down, or in other communities or, something, or like, heck yeah, man, you did a good job. Like they just try to be positive. When in the past that wasn't the case, but I've seen the last couple of years it switched to being, when I first started paying attention, I felt like people were a lot harsher. Then I started to feel like people started to get a lot nicer. Now I'm not seeing it enough to say across the board like it's getting worse, but it is interesting to see. And I saw it a couple times, like in the same day from different people. Like, wow, this is not cool. It's like, you don't want to be like that in this hobby. Like, we're all just trying to like show off our cool stuff that we did. And even if we're at different skill levels, like it is not cool to be tearing someone else down. I guess, yeah, I would expect it to be worse, especially with how the internet can be so cold. I don't know. It also kind of just depends on the community. And some communities end up being so nice that they end up kind of flipping to like being too safe. In my opinion, like they end up like everyone's kind of like, I don't know, just anything that seems remotely aggressive, even if it's not being aggressive, they kind of get jumped on. I don't know. It probably just depends a lot on just lots of factors. I feel that sometimes certain moderators in certain communities are way too aggressive with their I'm going to shut down comments stuff. And then it's like, well, sometimes these are adults usually that are discussing things, so adults should be able to disagree and be civil about it. And if they're not going to be civil, then sure, but What are you talking about? An hour? Did I miss something? I missed something. Yeah. I don't know about the Reddit community. They could be really cool. Is that Thunderhead's community, Kursala? Oh, trying to get this back in focus. Not that you can really see these super tiny hairs that I'm like clipping or plucking out of this. Yeah, I think Thunderhead's done a pretty good job of kind of like making everything. I don't have any critique. I think he's done a very solid job of like setting up his community to be welcoming and but being, from what I've seen, being willing to still call like stupid behavior out, but not being like a bully about it. It's a delicate balance, and you know, you got different people involved in different communities, so different things but happen. I personally would rather a community be more like disagreeing and just more like into the lore things of like, no, I don't really think that's why this person, like their motive was this or this, you know, and you kind of get into that, and it might feel heated, but it's not. It's totally like in good fun. Then people trying to mix in like real world issues out of, you know, in places where it doesn't need to be, and that boils up really quick. Really, really quick. Both the mini painting subreddit and 40k one, I feel like both pretty good resources. Well, that's good. The worst is like when you get someone gives you like really like aggressive feedback and they're like, well, I'm just trying to help. It's like, well, but you're being really aggressive about jumping on the guy. Even though I have seen some paint jobs in like the 40k community where you're like, that's rough. But that might be the guy's first ever time of painting something where he hasn't painted anything in like a decade or 2 decades or something. Some of these guys, it's like, well, you can't just crush them. That's not right. And if someone's not asking for feedback, I don't usually want to try to give it. It might be something quick, like, hey man, if you thin your paints down a little bit, like you'll get way better results. I think you'll be way happier, but I think you did a really good place to start here. Something where you're giving something positive. You're not just crushing them. All right. I think that one is, I need to close up my super glue. Yeah, and that's like that too, Prophet, and like the BattleTech community and others, where like you can see a post and like it gets nothing, or one that's just like really crazy, and you know, it's just how it is sometimes with the algorithms. Yeah, I agree. Woe and Kursal, yeah. When did Jungle Blade get here? He snuck right in. Hello. There are ways to be critical without being mean. Exactly. Exactly. The female Space Marines thing is like a landmine, I think. Like it erupts really quickly. So here are both of the Tiras. The foliage and the rocks, everything, I'm pretty happy with them. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Well, and the female Space Marines, it's whatever. I don't know enough about, but I know that they used to have models for them and then they stopped because they didn't sell. And it's like, whatever. I don't ultimately care. I don't really feel like they make a lot of sense, but I don't ultimately care, right? They're all make because they have the genetics of their primary all male grafted to their own DNA. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Sisters of Battle seems to be more of the answer to that. I don't understand why people are upset about there being no female Space Marines either. Like it's you know, we don't have to have females in everything. There can be some things that are men only, and there are things that can be female only. And you know what? That's okay. Like if they never have any male characters in the Sisters of Battle, oh well, that's fine. The Sisters of Battle get to go be super cool rock stars in their own way, and that's great. It's fine. I don't understand why there's this big push to make everything have to be the same. It's like, but there can be more fun and more diversity in having the Sisters of Battle than just saying, oh yeah, and there's female Space Marines now too. They weren't in any of the pictures for decades, but they were totally there. Some of the people that had helmets on, totally a female Space Marine. Totally. It shouldn't even be based to be like it's okay to have some things for women and some things for men. It's not that's not really that crazy. It's just how things are. I don't know. Am I gonna panic if there was one lone female Space Marine? No. But like, whatever. Well, that does happen, Jungle. It's true. Not everyone is so smart. There are female Inquisitors who are quite a bit more badass than most of the Space Marines. And that's totally fine, because it's probably been that way. And that, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I can't think of anything yet in Revelations where it's probably this group is male only. If there was one off the top of my head, because I haven't developed any, like trying to be like, this is men only group. If there was one that's probably, as of right now, very super encouraged to be male only, it would probably be the Paladins for the Ethereal Kingdom. And the reason being is that like they don't change their standards, and like you have to be sponsored by another Paladin, and by like it goes all into their political structure of the houses and whatnot. That in order to be a Paladin, you have to be already like you have to have a sponsor and all this, and you have to get like amazing results in the battlefield. And there's no pulling punches, right? Like if you're out there in the Paladin armor, you have to go and do it. So there will be some women that are amazing Paladin warriors, but it's not going to be common, only because, typically speaking, you're not going to see a female Paladin excel the same way as a male Paladin would, and it's just the way it is. That's because Paladins are using, it's all the agility and everything of the human. There's a little bit of amplification, but I mean, it's up to the warrior. However, with WarMech, like one of the top, like she's like number 2, number 1 in all of the Core Republic right now, is Captain Serena. She pilots a Sierra E2S. She's a really short woman, but like she's in the cockpit of the Sierra. She's a monster. She's just amazing at it. WarMechs are the great equalizer, right? You don't have to worry about. There's a little bit of physical that goes to it, obviously, but it's a lot of awareness of what's going on around you, working with the AI that helps operate everything, and then good judgment, right? And that she's just an amazing pilot. It's just, I decided that she may have been the first named character in the Republic that I made. I think she was. As far as for Revelation Skirmish, I think she was the first named pilot because I wanted to put out like this will be like one of the top pilots, and I came up with the idea for her, and I'm like, yeah, I like it. Let's do it. I'm not even. It's not even with like. It just is, right? And I don't even feel like it shouldn't even be controversial. It shouldn't be controversial to have strong female characters that are not objectified, but that feel real amongst everything else going on with other male characters and other female characters. And like it all just, I think, I mean, Princess Leia always felt like a character to me, not counting the whole like bikini stuff with Jabba the Hutt. Outside of that, I felt like everything with her felt, I mean, it's in Star Wars, so it's, you know, it's a space opera, so it's a little exaggerated, but I felt like it was all pretty well grounded. She never felt broken or a Mary Sue, right? Or anything. Like she felt like a real character, and you know, I want my characters to feel like that too. Oh, if it was trying to be based, it'd be cringe. Well, I don't know. I guess. But yeah, I mean, you know, see, all the dudes who say stuff like, "All married and all honor their wives." Yeah, well, I try to. Uh, um, but nah, I have tried to make it a goal of mine that female characters can be well represented without feeling like they're just there because they're attractive. Like they're um, a solid player within the stories, within the politics, or within you know, like for example, like Abigail Black, who's the queen now for Haven. She, you know, she led effectively a coup to take that. So she's pretty badass. She, you know, you don't have to exaggerate that. I mean, it kind of that's she's a motivational character that's been able to pull a bunch of people together in order to be able to pull that off. And now is like with the Tiras, it's the first real, it's the second original WarMech for Haven, but I mean, she was the one who made sure that Haven was going to get their own WarMech, their own tanks, their own, you know, she's the one that's pushing that. Haven before that was could defend itself, but it was a lot more low key, and she's trying to like really help her people. So she's a totally different type of character from what they've had in the past. Why does this counsel ever get is from my wife, and there's not another person I value more? Oh, yeah, no. I run a lot of stuff past my wife, a lot. But yeah, that's always important. But as far as things here, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I hope we can get all the stuff situated to release on Friday. Variants are in the works. The Zever tank will be coming out very soon as well. And then the SPTs were right behind that. The Bernard is actually, I need to just kind of just release the, well, I don't have a finished painted one. That won't take too long. I've got one that I started, I just hadn't finished it. And oh, I need to release the Raider files, the updates. I got a lot to do. There's so much to do. Yeah, how have you not heard about the SPT or the Bernard, Jungle? They're coming. The SPT is basically the I've shown it off. It's basically the Hummer or the MRAP for Haven. It's gonna have like 6 different variants. Does all kinds of different jobs. The Bernard's just another tank that they're gonna have. And Jam, I think an attractive character is and can be good for stories and character arcs. They can use the fact they're pretty or charming to their benefit. That is true. And I don't have an issue at all writing a female character that is attractive, or what a man would consider to be attractive. But I'm sensitive to that. I don't want to play into sex appeal. And like that's the character's one-dimensional. She's just there for sex appeal. Like it just kind of cheapens that character, I think. Now there are some characters that are there because like if there was gonna be a character that's playing like basically the role of like a concubine, well she's was chosen to be a concubine because she's attractive. So you have to that has to be a part of her character design. But then you don't want a designer to be just that. You got to figure out something else that really adds to her, makes her feel unique, and there's a reason that she's in the stories and whatnot. And that's kind of played into with one of the characters from Kingdom of Sand, and will be as that series continues. But I need to sidetrack and work on some other stuff first because I have some other stories that are burning to be told. What I'm saying, the Hollywood act like you can have a pretty and charming female. They had to pretty much be a male in all but looks. Yeah, and that's not. I don't want that. You want your female and male characters to be allowed to feel different, because that's how it is in real life. And there's crossover, right? There's some women that are can have some more masculine tendencies and vice versa, but by and large, it's pretty different, and that's okay. That doesn't make one less valuable or more valuable. It's just the way it is. Rey Palpatine is awful. I don't even want to get into Star Wars because I feel like I get into Star Wars too often. Modern writing problems stem from writing a woman who is a character, not a character who happens to be a woman. Yeah, like it's a big thing they have to like add in when it's like that character just happens to be a woman, but she's really like an amazing, well-developed character. Even if she's not a great person, you can just like with males, you can still design the character to feel real, right? No. It was just with the Rey Palpatine thing. Whoa, it's like I'm trying. I know this was an issue with the last Mechs and Miniatures podcast that we kind of went off and got like on a sidetrack of like ranting, and I didn't want it to do that, and it kind of happened anyway. But I'm trying to be more careful that doesn't become a thing where people can kind of just expect it. At some point Rick's gonna complain about the sequels or something, and I just don't want that to become like an expectation. Yeah, Samus is a cool character. I don't have any issues with her. But I'm hoping we can get the Shards of Time stories moving. I have for some people who weren't here, I have an idea for a new short story that I'm going to put when we release the Shards in Time, Volume 1. I'm not sure how many short stories are going to be in that yet. I kind of have to see how the page count ends up being with what we have right now, but yeah. All right, Jungle, have a good night. Eventually we'll get a podcast that's just Rick and I don't want to go on and on about Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 hurt me enough. I've talked about it enough. If anybody has to know, they can ask me, but otherwise, I'm pretty sure I made my opinion exceedingly and abundantly available. So, there's no shortage of, where do I find that? And if it ever comes up, like, what do you feel like was one of the most disappointing experiences in any video game. That will be on the list of the top 10. Which is funny in its own way. Yeah, well, that'll be fun because the SPT has, I you know, once we get into a little bit more of the lore side, but it'll be fun because there's so many different loadouts of it. So there's a lot for people to kind of figure out what they want best for their force. It's actually one of the, I don't want to set it in the wet paint. Is the, where is the turret? Oh, here it is. Reattach it to this now that I'm done with that part. Actually, the SPTs probably would be used a lot by mercenaries. Never played Mass Effect. I'm kind of scared too after hearing people's complaints. Well, the thing is, with Mass Effect, the first and second games are amazing. They're amazing games. I really, really enjoyed them. The third one was very amazing until literally the last hour or two of the game. And I have a friend, and he's like, he really likes it. He really feels that they did a really cool ending. And I will go to my grave adamantly disagreeing with him. Because I do not feel like that at all. I feel cheated. Yeah, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but from what I understand from other people's complaints of Game of Thrones, this didn't... Well, actually, I guess what ended up happening to Mass Effect, as far as I understand it, my friend was telling me, is that the original ending got leaked. So what they decided to do was just to change the ending, which was stupid. It's like, if you have a solid ending and it got leaked, I mean, don't allow it to get leaked, but don't rob all your players of a well thought out ending. That's just stupid. Okay, well, kind of in the painting mode anyway, so I need to, because I have not finished it. Well, you cannot see this because it is way out of focus. Focus. There we go. I need to do like a white balance on this or something, because this camera is way too yellow. Because this is green. It's like the exact same green. Well, maybe it's this light. For my kids. Maybe it was touching the light. Okay. I guess I could actually keep that up, make it a little brighter now. We are as bright as it goes. But what I was thinking is I need to figure out where I'm going to put the... I will, because my youngest will come in here and he will... If I have the lights plugged in, he just comes over because they have like a little switch on the wire, but it has like 4 different buttons. And he's figured out how to turn them on, so he just turns it on. Ah, nice, whoa. That's going to be a really big ship. I guess, Jam, it's in part because, I don't know, they don't want the ending to be spoiled, so then they change things. But it's like, but then you change things not for the better, though. And stuff gets leaked. Like, you can do the best you can. I know there are movies that give out fake scripts, or like if they're dealing with actors, certain actors, they won't even give them the length of the script. They literally give them what they need for that scene when it comes time to record it, and they don't let them know jack outside of that. I guess that was a joke in because Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, is notorious for, I guess, for leaking things on accident or whatever. So when they were recording Endgame, when they were at the funeral for Tony Stark, he was like the only person there that didn't know. I guess they recorded it out of order, so he didn't know that they were recording the funeral for Tony Stark. So that's why his character seems a little like out of like his reaction seems slightly surprised. I guess he didn't even know it was a funeral. And you're like, oh man, you not know loose lips, sink shit. Like, what's going on? And then it will live at my desk at work. That'll be a really big ship. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, some people can't help themselves. They'll spoil it for others. They'll be like, hey, man, did you hear about this? Like, I haven't even, it's not even released. I want to wait. And then there's other times where I've purposely ruined things because I wanted to know if it was even going to be worth my time, because I didn't like the way that things that I had been hearing were going, and you know. But I kind of knew there's a chance I'm ruining this for myself. Well, and subverting expectations doesn't even always make sense, because if your brand was built on kind of following tropes or kind of being a little more predictable, but you did it in a way that was very enjoyable, then that's okay, right? It doesn't have to be this crazy grand thing. But like with Revelations, I'm not trying to subvert expectations as much as like I just want to tell a different type of story than what people have probably seen. And I have my reasons and stuff for that and what I want to do. But like, I don't know. I don't understand the need to just do something different for the sake of doing something different. In the sense of like, this is what people are expecting, so we can't do that. Yeah, and Star Wars is a really good example of messing that up. I need to see picture for something to know what the heck I'm doing. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh wait, maybe it's in the different channel. Oh goodness. There you are. Star Wars is a bunch of action-adventure novel tropes strung together into a story. Doing anything else is wrong. Absolutely. I agree 100%. You already set the ground. Like, this is what it is. It's a feel-good movie of good versus evil. Good triumphs in the end. And, you know, you have their own things that they've challenged or done different. But, like, you don't just go crazy and just do all kinds of weird stuff. Looking at you, episode 9 and 8. Alright. That worked. Speaking of reading, I've been reading the second Thrawn novel. Ascension? It's I haven't found it to be as enjoyable as the first Thrawn novel. And I think that's like the new canonized versions, because I think they had Thrawn novels before, but they were different. But it has a lot of jumping back and forth between time, between two different threads. And I'm like, I don't really like doing this. And I was telling my wife about it, and she's like, well, you don't like, stories like that. You like them to just be kind of following like a linear path. And I was like, you know what? I forgot. Not that I forgot. I didn't make the connection of like why I was having trouble enjoying the book, because I don't like. It was the same problem I had like in the Book of Boba Fett show. I don't like jumping back and forth constantly. Jumping back sometimes to add elaboration to things, that's fine. But like the Bird Box movie, I thought was stupid, because if you watched it in chronological order, it didn't make any sense. So, not that that movie made almost any sense whatsoever. But I will not be doing that in Revelations. I will not be jumping around the timeline a lot in one book. There will be books that, like, I mean, right now we already have books that focus on different time periods, but they stay in that time period. I feel like it's easier for readers to follow. I mean, Boba Fett's in it, but it definitely, like, he definitely got shafted. I'm. There are, in my eyes, some positive events that occurred in there, but it wasn't the Boba Fett show that I wanted by any stretch. So I did that. I think the other side is completely green, and then we did like the rings on the barrel, which I can do at least 2 rings or something. For the emerald color. Oh wait. I'm gonna have to just go grab the model. I don't want to get up, but I gotta. Exactly. If you're gonna do flashbacks, do it sparingly, not back and forth. Freaking goodness. But I guess that's also why, like, Lost kind of was annoying. I was trying to be lazy. I shouldn't have been. I should have just got up. Still waiting to see this book. When was there an actual mention of a book? Oh, it's actually weird because there's actually like no books in Star Wars, so to call it the Book of Boba Fett. But I guess they also had, was it the Book of Kenobi? That was a thing, right? Previously. Where am I going to paint the gray and the green? I don't have to. Maybe I'll just do the top. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want to paint the entire thing. I'll do the top first and we'll go from there. Well, they do have books. Because in episode 9 we see them. 8. But no, those were actual books. Those were books. Because they're like bound. And the music just stopped. I just got set. So if we're following the Zever, there's the emerald on this side. I don't even need my phone's just gonna get in the way. Let's just paint it. Huzzah! This emerald paints really well on top of the green, I'll tell you. Like, that is just smooth. There we go. Let's do those rings. I think I'll only do 2 rings instead of the 4 like on the Zever. Let's do one now. Because the Zever barrel is so much longer, so. Okay. Now for the bumping into the light. Don't do that. Haha, free hand ring. We're done with the emerald for the moment. We just need the gray. We need to mix up, and that is uniform gray. Right, there's no gray on the turret. That's basically all good to go. That little bit. Do a little different because I don't want to. Just want to kind of control how much is going to be mixed in here. Do this gray. Here. Oops. All right. Sweet. And the other thing to do would be like those rear lights back there. I can do that real quick. I got a red here somewhere mixed up. Yeah, let's do. That might be dry. That may not end up working. Yeah, that's. Have to come back to that one. Let's do Abomination Gore. Maybe. Let's see if that one's dried up. No, it hasn't dried up. Just need to mix it up. Oh no! Got red paint on my new dry brush. Go back in there. Now we do this carefully. Perfect. Happy with that. And then still have enough brown wash to do this model. I'm gonna have to make more. But not for this one. Next time, probably for sure. Oh boy, that is close. Hopefully the mic's not picking up me blowing on the bubbles on this. They're being really pronounced. Yeah, I don't know why they were being so bubbly. It just happens sometimes. I think it's the... I'm half wondering if it's the brush. But it's all covered well now, so that one's fine. Yeah, might be the brush. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. No. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I have to touch that up anyway, so I'm not gonna freak out. Ooh, that's really thick. There's way too much wash there. Oh boy. Pull some of that out. It's weird to me. I just was I had to call a family member today, and I was just realizing that it's already been like a month since well, actually, yeah, it's quite literally been a month since Christmas. It was the last time I saw them was at Christmas. I was like, it feels like Christmas was longer than a month to me. I don't know. I guess because I got right back to work, right? Like I was working on Revelations and stuff with that Christmas break. So for me, it's different, but all right, Kursala, have a good night. Thanks for being here tonight. Freaking... Oh, it's something on the model. I can't blow that off. All right. Oh, I can add a little bit more wash there. It's just the tiniest little speck, but it'll look better if the better amount of wash there. Alrighty then. While that's drying, I think it's probably a good place to call it for the night as well. because that wash is going to take a little while to dry, and I don't really have anything else to work on immediately to jump at. So thank you guys for being here. Got the T-Rosses done. That's exciting. And we have the new blog post coming up soon. The T-Ross will be available soon, and some other stuff. And yeah, so thank you guys for being here tonight. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.